notes.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for this? Okay, welcome to Unscripted Strength, episode 36, I think. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, episode 36. Thank you for watching again. We are back to our semi-regular video meeting because Day's way fucking cooler than all of us, and she's at the Olympic Training Center with her triathlon athletes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
And I'm in my house with look at this beautiful little creature right here.
Aww.
Just
That's
sleeping
a sweet
away.
little baby.
I'm not actually scratching him, by the way. It's an optical
He's a
illusion.
sweetheart.
He is. The other one is sleeping in his bed just to the other side, but you can't see him. This is not the Olympic Training Center. This is my home. I'm Coach Ethan, and we have here the wonderful you.
Oh, you're pointing the opposite direction from what I'm seeing.
Oh,
Day.
shit. The wonderful. Oh, you're on this side?
I thought Katie was going to pop up from the side. I was really excited.
That would be pretty funny.
What's up?
Hello, hello. Okay, so as always, quickly we're going to go over our training, but we have a little bit different of a format today. Sorry, there we go. Now, okay, if I point this direction, are you right here?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. So we're going to have a little bit of a different format today where we're going to talk about something more specific. So we're going to go over our training as usual, but then we're going to talk about heavy things in strength training, what that means, what it looks like. I think the big part is what it means. Day and I have talked a little bit about this off camera to have, a little bit of a series idea. So in this part of the series, it's going to be a little bit different than our normal podcast. We're going to define heavy and strength and conditioning and just exercise in general. So yeah, that's it. This is part one of that, which is going to be heavy as a percent, not a number. And then we're going to do our training too. So Day, what's your training looking like?
Well, I'm back to having weird training schedule with traveling, so that's never fun. And I'm just kind of taking it as it goes right now. But I've been able to, stay on track and everything. But the gym that's here, because again, it's in Chula Vista in California, which is this training center used to be like the Pop-In Training Center a while ago, and now it's kind of deserted. So it's very interesting because the weight room is like in a tent with like this this well-built tent, which is kind of like the structures that they have like on deployments, because it's just like this huge tent that's like pretty sturdy and can withstand like a lot of conditions, like weather conditions. But it's interesting because it's still a tent, and you walk into this tent gym and it's large. It's not like a little camping tent, and you walk in and it just like it feels like you've been brought back to like the 1980s or something like that, like old equipment, like companies that no longer exist. Even like the color tone of everything in there is like 80s, 90s vibes. So it's kind of cool, honestly. And it has all the equipment you need. Some of it doesn't work, like all of their cardio is in the back and it just like does not work. So that kind of sucks. So I've been doing like because the only thing that does work is for cardio is like the assault bike, because obviously that's not powered. So that sucks because I've just been like on the assault bike for hours and it is not fun. So yeah, but other than that, training's good. It's interesting because just like being out of routine, I just get more tired. So like my lifting just doesn't feel great at all. The only things that feel decent are like the things I'm good at, but like the things I'm not good at, such as like squatting and stuff, horrible. My plyometrics right now, horrible. Like my jump height and all that stuff. Like when I do a broad jump, I can't go as far. Just stuff like that. But it's also interesting too, because I'm so tired, and then I'm seeing the athletes train, and they're training, as I was telling you, like 4 or 5 hours a day on top of all the other stuff, activities that they're doing here. And just watching them, I get tired. It's like, I'm literally standing there just watching and just, learning about their training more and more. And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm exhausted as if I was training. And it's so funny because like at the end of the day, they sometimes stop by our room because I'm rooming with the athletic trainer, and they come by to like chit chat and also get like, recovery and rehab work done, dry needling. And they come in and they're full of energy, and I'm on the couch like dying from like fatigue. So it's just insane. But yeah, that's how my training's going.
And so you get to train with outdated, sick equipment and broken,
Yeah.
non-usable cardio equipment,
Yep.
and then get to watch monster athletes in the triathlon world absolutely fucking crush it.
Yeah.
So hard that it makes you tired.
Yes,
I
exactly.
mean,
It's
that's
just like
pretty cool.
essentially, I'm like through like osmosis, the fatigue is coming to me, and I
Sure.
think it's leaving their body so that they
Yeah, I was
can
gonna say maybe you're an
handle
energy
more.
pylon for them though. Like
Maybe,
you're taking that's why they have so much energy because you're taking their fatigue for them.
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, like
Honestly,
you're
if that
letting them
means
recover.
like, yeah, if that's my role in their important athlete journey, I'll do
Sure,
it. Yeah,
sure. Why aren't you wearing your ring, Day?
I know. I should have both rings, one on each hand. Yeah.
For anyone who is wondering about the ring, they are two-time national champions. So she's ringed up. She's almost Tom Brady. Well, almost Bill Belichick.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty sick,
Very,
dude.
yeah, very
Vibes. I
similar to him.
mean,
Yeah.
Mass people, right? They're in Massachusetts all the time.
Yeah. That is true. That
Or
is
we're in
true. They are
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
They're probably in
Yeah.
Florida now.
Yeah. Well, isn't
Okay.
Belichick in like North Carolina now? He's with
Oh
the.
yeah. Well, I think he got let go from North Carolina. Maybe he
Oh,
didn't.
did he? I don't
I
know.
thought so. I thought he got let go. Let's see. Is Belichick still at
This
UNC?
is
Let's see
very
if we're wrong
important.
here.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, he is. Okay. The Tar Heels. God, what a weird name. I don't like that. Tar Heels. Think of something new. Well, that sounds like fun training. How do you kind of protect yourself mentally from being around? Like, is it hard being around athletes and comparing yourself to them, or are you just not even, it doesn't even fuck with you?
No, it does. I was having this conversation with them actually, with a few of them, because it's like
With the athletes or the trainers and coaches?
with the athletes, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so open with them about stuff. And
Yeah.
like being around them is, as someone who, likes fitness and
Mm-hmm.
is trying to get better at running and all this stuff, being around them, it's kind of like, dang, like they're running for their easy mile, they're running a 6:20, they're
Oh
running a
yeah, dude, you told me that.
5:40, and like these insane times. And like I'm thinking if I ran that for half a
Ah!
mile, I'd be
Mm-hmm.
dead.
A
I truly would.
400, dude. I'd fall over to 400.
Yeah. So it's so interesting, right? And it's like seeing them do all these things, and it kind of is like when I see how well they do and like their capability of doing this stuff, it's like, man, there is no way, like, even if I trained as hard as I could, that I would be at this level. And it kind of is like a nice reality hit because it's like,
Uh-huh.
when you're the smartest person in the room, they say you're in the wrong room. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, fitness wise, being, most people are like, oh yeah, you're really fit. But then being around them, it's like, oh no, I was in the wrong room the whole time. Like they really show you like what
Mm-hmm.
true level of like elite performance is. And then
Yeah.
seeing how much they do their capacity. Cause it's like, oh, like I used to think I worked out so much. It's like, I train so much and like I have this great capacity. And then seeing them train days after days after a bunch of them just got done competing and are flying in from all other countries, immediately going into 4 to 5 hours of training a day. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I like my capacity, there's no way. Like, so it's like capabilities and capacities are so different. And it is like, it's like, gosh, there's no way I could do that. But at the same time, it's like so impressive to see and like give me a nice reality check of like, okay, this is what people are capable of, and helping me
Mm-hmm.
understand like this is what they do. And it also helps me understand too, as like a strength coach, like, we think strength coach, like you have to do this, this, this. And then now understanding like they're doing all of this, like I need to make
Mm-hmm.
sure my strength program matches their demands and making sure that I'm not adding on like useless work for them. I have to be
Yeah.
really efficient. So we had like strength training sessions here on top of everything that they're doing. So it was like 25 minutes long. I'm like, we're
Yeah.
doing some plyos, we're doing some isos, you're doing 1 to 2 strength movements, you're done. And we're like,
Whoa.
yeah,
In and out. That's wild. It must be, yeah, it's gotta be so fun to watch.
Yeah.
The only experience I have with that is being around Blake Martinez, he was in the NFL for 7 seasons, I think. I went to high
Okay.
school with him. And I remember when he got to our high school and, I had some friends in high school that were talking about going to play college ball. And I remember when Blake came in, there was like this stark difference between what a D1 athlete looked like and what you know community college athletes looked like. And I
Yeah.
think it was like a very aggressive switch for some of the people I know who were playing, where it's like you're going from being like, oh damn, I'm the best on the team, to
Mhm.
then someone from a different room comes into yours and you're like, no, I can't
Yeah.
do this. There's no
Yes.
way I'm going to be able to do this. And he
Yes.
was just I
It's
mean, he flattened people. He just like ran all over the field and no one could do anything about it.
Yeah. It's insane to kind of have that reality check, but it gives such good perspective too, because it's like, okay, if I want to like coach these people, like understanding that they are
Mhm.
light years ahead of what I can do, because a lot of times like in the weight room or when you create training plans, whether it's like a running training plan or lifting
Mhm.
training plan or a hybrid, whatever, it's like a lot of times you base things off of what you can do, right? Because I'm like,
100%.
with some of my CrossFit athletes, like I'll write stuff up and I'm like, oh, this was really hard for me and this is whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you're
Yeah,
basing it
it's a
off that,
gauge. Mhm.
right? But then like when you're working with someone that's much more advanced, it's like, okay, how do I even approach this? Like,
Yeah.
because I don't have an understanding of like
Mm-mm.
what that is like. So it's always interesting, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but do you ever, because this is where my insane brain goes, where I'm like, what are the chances that you or I could develop, maybe not exactly to them, but like, how do you get there, you know? Do you think you could get there? Like if you had your
No.
nutrition dialed in perfectly and your sleep and your stress low, do you think you could do it?
Mm-mm. I don't think so.
Really?
Zero chance. Like
Whoa.
I could bet my life on it that I wouldn't be able to get there.
To do like 4 or 5 hours a day of training.
Well, doing the training, yes. I do think my capacity is there to do that,
What
to
isn't there?
do the capability to perform like,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. It's wild. I always like when I'm around people like that, my stupid fucking chimp brain is like, I wonder if I could get close to that. Like how close could I get?
Yeah, dude, it's like
No, I
seeing
don't.
it.
I'm
And
not.
like just I think seeing it, I'm just like, no way. No
No
way I
way.
can handle it. You know, they do some insane stuff and yeah. They have a good range and distribution of like intensities of things. So
Hmm.
like some things are easy, some things are hard, but still it's so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even the
Yeah.
workout you texted me, am I allowed to say it? The repeat one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They did, what did you use? 4 1 mile repeats and then an all out 1K? Is
3
that what it was?
and then
Three of
all
them?
out 1K, yeah. And that was their
And you
lactate testing.
and you were saying they were doing these at like 5 to 6:30 paces,
Yeah,
five
dude,
thirty to
dude,
six
'cause
thirty or something like that.
right, so it's like 1,600 meters for the first 3, which is a mile. 1,600 is a mile, so they're doing 3 1-mile repeats, at increasing paces. So the first one is their, like, zone 2 easy, and their zone 2 easy is, like, 6 to 6:30 was
God.
the range. And then we would prick their ear and get their lactate
Hmm.
reading. And the lactate was like super low at that pace. And so it's like, okay, now next one, higher intensity, then all out 1K. And it's just like, it's kind of crazy seeing like their lactate is able to get so high. And
Hmm.
then, so we get the first lactate reading when they do at the end, let me backtrack. So they do 1,600 meters, we get their lactate reading. Do another 1,600, get lactate reading, another 1,600, lactate reading, all out 1K. Then we get their lactate reading. Then we get the lactate reading again after 3 minutes, then after 5 minutes. And so the all out 1K, that immediate lactate reading is as high that like it's
Max.
their max, right?
Hmm.
And then and they can get so high. And then at the 3 minute mark, when we do the second reading, it's already dropped. Like it clears out so fast. Yeah. So it's also an interesting thing to see because it's like, yeah, but they work with there's this company that uses those lactate readings, and they have their own proprietary algorithm based on a
Uh-huh.
bunch of studies that they've done, and it spits out a report of like the VO2 max, VLA max, all of these different metrics, and VO2 max for the girls ranges from like 63 to 70. Yeah.
Nuts, dude. That's so cool
Yeah.
though. They're
Yeah.
dogs, dude.
Super impressive.
Running, it's just cardio shit's so much harder than lifting, honestly. It's just not even close. Like the more I get involved in like just even personal interest in the endurance world, but then like
Hmm.
listening to you talk about the tri teams, and it's so much harder. It's so much harder. There's just no
It's
question.
crazy. It's crazy. And then another cool thing too that I always love seeing is when they do their bike stuff because it's
Uh-huh.
so technical, and that's where like technical stuff comes in. And
Uh-huh.
there's something called like a crit course around here where like they're these windy roads, it's hilly and all this stuff, and that's where they do all like their turns and technique stuff. And they're like flying through, taking these sharp turns, and it's like just watching it is like horrifying as someone who
Oh
doesn't ride a
God.
bike or
Yeah.
anything. It's crazy. I want to take a few videos today so I can send them to you so you can see because they
Yeah.
have one coming up in an hour.
Oh man, in an hour. Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
train a million hours a day. That's all
Yeah.
you guys are
Yeah.
doing there.
Yeah.
Dude,
It's
that's
so
so
funny.
cool. I just don't, I want to watch one day. I just want to watch one of these
I know.
trainings.
They do have a home meet this year.
Okay.
So you have to go to that just so you
Yeah.
can see. It's super fun.
Yeah.
But honestly, just you should join me in one of the like just watching one of their training sessions
I'm
because it
down.
is so fun.
Just give me an
Yeah.
intern shirt. I'll just be your intern.
Yeah.
Just like this is my little
Here's
bitch.
Ethan. He knows
Yeah.
more than me, but he's my
No
intern.
way, dude. You're crazy. I know more than you. Okay, how's my training going? It's fine. It's fine. I'm it's fucking fine, dude. Whatever. I'll be ready for November. That's how my fucking training's going right now.
Dude, it's coming up.
I'm just addicted, dude. I don't want to. I just like lifting heavy stuff because I'm so much better at it. I'm doing like 2 or 3
Yeah,
days a week of cardio. I'm trying to be a cardio queen. Day, I've been lying to you. I'm not. I'm not her day.
you are her.
No, I
You
don't
is
want to
him.
be. I am him. No, I'm there, dude. I'm right there. It's been more fun. I've been enjoying the cardio. It's
Mm,
because it hasn't been so difficult. So my heart rate's a lot more manageable. My breathing's a lot more manageable. Have I been
mm-hmm.
taking edibles and going on runs or bikes? Maybe. Who knows? Yes is the answer. Do I like doing it? Absolutely. It's an interesting feeling. But
That
I've
is
been
just
having what'd you
edibles
say?
before a run or any cardio session is
Yeah.
insane.
It's so much fun. It's just like, you
How does
start warming up and then your whole body just kind of gets involved very quickly.
oh,
Like as the edible
interesting.
hits and you start to get high, then things get a little squirrely, you know,
That's funny.
in a way that I enjoy.
Should we all do that during the race?
Day, you would just be joining me. I'm going
Yeah,
to do it during the race. Whoever
I bet.
wants in, I'm in.
I feel like almost everyone would be down.
Yeah, there's a couple who
I've
there's a
never
couple
done
who
it
wouldn't.
before, so it could be an interesting.
Oh, yeah, we would practice beforehand. You don't have to do it the day of the race. What a crazy thought. Like the first time I do this is gonna be honestly, I'm fine with it. I say we do it. Who
Yeah,
cares? If you have a panic attack, dude, you'll be fine.
yeah, it's fine.
We could also take mushrooms and do it. That's a little more illegal, so you know, I'm talking about like, normal mushrooms. Certainly not the psychedelic kind. Yeah. Legal stuff.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so yeah, it's been fun doing that. I do enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie. I know another racer on our team who also enjoys it, so I know he would do it with me.
I know who you're talking about. Yep.
Uh-huh. So it's gonna be good. My running's been fine. I need to do more of it. I have been liking it. I just can't. My struggle right now is I have a hard time not doing things at a very intense level. So like
Mm,
the reason I like powerlifting and weightlifting so much is because, clean and jerk and snatch is a very technical but very explosive movement, a blast. And powerlifting is same thing. You gotta be real intense, you know, you gotta fucking
mm-hmm.
send it. And I'm not a big fan of things where I don't just like full send things, which is an issue. I'm aware of it, but I love it. So now I just want to go do sprints, which is
Uh,
marginally helpful, if not probably. But whatever, dude. That's where my training's at. I'm falling
it'll,
apart.
it'll move the needle. We'll
Yeah,
move the needle.
we'll
Yeah.
fill it day. We'll move the needle
Depending
to you.
on what, are you doing like 10-yard sprints? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you
That'd
talking
be
about like
a little
400,
longer.
800-meter
No, no,
repeats?
no, 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 no. Done like 40 yards.
Okay, then
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, 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 yeah. Not moving the needle too much.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna start this. Depending on what time we finish today, I'm gonna go do some interval stuff at the gym, either on a treadmill or
Okay.
on a bike. So I'll do like, you know, couple minutes on of death, couple minutes off, couple minutes on, couple minutes off
Mm-hmm.
until I feel like I can't take it anymore, and then I'll leave.
Okay.
That'll be good.
Nice.
Or
Yeah.
I'll jump right into a Norwegian 4x4 and just send it.
Dude, there's like no other way to do it.
But it's the perfect workout, I've heard, Day.
Mm-hmm.
It
It's
is
the
the only
magical
way to
VO2 max workout.
correct.
If you
Yeah,
want to
there's
live longer, you do Norwegian 4x4.
dude,
The science says so. It's not, I didn't make this up.
some of the fitness influencers talking about a Norwegian 4x4 sometimes make me feel like they've never tried it. But imagine, one of these NARPs, like a normal dad just listening to Peter T or whoever talking about Norwegian
I
4
know.
by 4 and he's like, I should go try this. That first one, puking everywhere.
Yeah.
White
That's a
face, red
mistake.
cheeked puking.
That's a mistake everyone makes is they go
Hmm.
out way too hot and they can't repeat the first or second set. And it's like, well, what's the point of this?
Yeah,
I guess you can build up next week and do an extra set, but you're going to really have to manage that intensity so you're not maxing out. That's
yeah.
like doing a 1 rep max and trying another 1 rep max after.
See, I like that. That's a good idea. I am a fan of
Do
this
it.
idea. Yeah, yeah. There's nothing worse feeling like when I was maxing out my power cleans a few weeks ago where you
Hmm.
miss it and then you go to try it again and then you miss it like three more times and you're like, I swear I can get this. And then you're just like, it's not gonna happen. I can't get this. I have to stop.
Yeah.
There's always one more attempt. Like if I just put a little more chalk on my thumbs, I'm gonna get this. It's gonna be there.
This is it. Yeah. I
It's
do
gotta
that
be my
shit way too
thumbs.
often. Yeah. It's gotta be. What else would it be?
My hook grip's just not deep enough.
Yeah.
Okay, that is our training in a nutshell.
Hmm. Hmm.
Normal and depressing on my end. So, the thing we're going to get into now is what is heavy? What is heavy in strength and conditioning? Why do we use it? Why is it important? Why is being strong helpful?
Hmm.
Dave, would you like to start? You want me to start? What do you want to do?
Starting with why is being strong helpful? Or do you
I
want to
think so,
start
yeah.
off with what is? Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And
what is heavy? Let's start out with what is heavy.
yeah. Okay. I mean, and this is where the conversation originated between me and you because we hear it all the time, like in podcasts or social media posts or whatever, where it's like, go heavy, train heavy. You want to get better at this, train heavy. But it's like never really like defined. It's like, okay, I know that. It's kind of like when people will say, you want your performance to be better, eat more. Okay, like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, okay, we get it. But like, how much for if I'm doing this event? How much if I'm training like this? When do I eat? What distribution? What are things to consider? What about, previous nutrition history and how to increase it, blah, 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 all this stuff. So it's like there's this lack of direction. And I think that leads a huge gap because like what if we're talking about like a triathlete and we're telling them go heavy, right? Like go heavy and they're like, all right, go heavy. And there's no direction there. It's like go heavy. It's like how much? Because all they know is volume naturally from their sport. So it's like, okay, I'll do 6 to 8 sets of heavy. Like what, like how much should I do of heavy? And what is heavy? Is it a percentage base? Is it an exact number? Is it based on body weight? Those conversations come up. So I think there's so much more information into what heavy is that is not, explicitly said when people give this advice of lifting heavy. So, when we're saying what is heavy, I think it's percentage based off of your capability of how much you can lift. Like, not that I'm taking 1 rep maxes of endurance athletes, but I have a good idea of where they are on the spectrum of things. So I have a good understanding based on that. I have a good understanding based on like testing of force plate stuff and all that, and just like all the other data we have on them. But it's also seeing them like move and seeing them lift and all that. So like what is heavy when I'm looking at them, I like in my head as a coach and looking at them, I do have like a percentage in my head, but they don't know that. I literally tell them like, you're grabbing this dumbbell, you're grabbing this dumbbell, and just direct them where they need to go. And then let's say they're moving fast. Then it's like, okay, we're going to try to increase maybe reps so that they're getting near that failure a little close, like, towing that line a little bit more. So, yeah, I feel like I was going to go a whole different direction. So I'm going to stop there and I'll let you define what heavy is.
What is heavy to me? I think the biggest thing, because most of my work is with general population people, is this idea about concentric deceleration. So like when you're applying effort into the movement, if the bar slows down or whatever instrument you're using slows down despite your effort. So like, people could sandbag it. That's not what I'm talking about, but like on a squat, even if it's a goblet squat, whatever it is, if you're coming up out of the bottom and the bar doesn't slow down as you're giving a lot of effort, then to me, we're maybe not there yet. And it also depends, on what rep scheme we're using. But even if it's like, 6 or more or between 1 and 5, I'm trying to see how fast the bar is moving. So kind of similarly to you, like I've got an idea of all the people I work with in person when I'm working with them, where I'm kind of directing them. I'll ask them because sometimes I want to see where they think they should be, and then I want to know where they are and where I'm at so we can kind of meld it. But I can then also kind of educate them of like where I think they are at. And sometimes we're right on point with it. But to me, heavy and like what is it, why is like, yeah, what is it? It's the way the exercise moves. Like if someone's got the form down and the technique good enough, and not perfect, good enough to be safe and control the weight. I think a thing I say to people all the time is, if your first rep and your last rep look identical, we're just maybe a little bit off here, is my go-to line. But I'm looking for something to look difficult within the first 3 reps. Like if I give you 8 reps and by number 3 or 4 you haven't started moving a little bit differently under the load, then I think we're missing the mark. That kind of scales. Like if I'm working with you in week 1, 135-pound front squat, move slowly, and then the next week I'm just gonna reevaluate. Maybe I'll add 2.5s or 5s depending on how it moved or how you feel. But that number needs to move somewhere. Either reps or weight needs to swing in a certain direction. To your point of like, we need to be close to failure, not at it most of the time for most people. And yeah, I'm just looking. Really, I think my biggest thing is I'm looking for the weight to slow down. I'm looking for you to give effort into the movement and the weight to slow down on the concentric. Because the eccentric I want controlled most of the time. Obviously, there's exercises where I don't really care about the eccentric control, but when you're pulling or pushing on something and trying to contract the muscle, if that thing doesn't slow down against your contraction, we're probably off in terms of difficulty or rep choice. Like it could be the right rep choice, or it could be the right weight for 15 reps, but we've only got 7. And if we're trying to put some muscle on, let's just go, like either we go up in reps or we go up in weight, and we try to find out where we're close, where close to failure is.
It's interesting you say that because I agree 100%, like looking for that concentric deceleration where the barbell's slowing down. But there's working with the divers
Mm-hmm.
is so interesting because like that rule does not apply to them. And it throws me off every time because you have this plan and you're like, all right, you're going for this. Here's a percentage based on, because with them, I can do 1 rep max because they're pretty good. They know how to push themselves. They have experience in the weight room, all that. So sometimes I do like different testing with them. Either I usually do like a 3 to 5 rep max type thing. So I have an idea of where they are on the spectrum because they're all over, right? Like I have one guy who could probably squat like 600 pounds and then another guy who's like 225. So big range there. That being said, with them, it's like repeatability of being explosive is insane. So I'll give them a percentage based on what their estimated 1 rep max is, and it'll be on the higher end. And it's like, okay, you're going to do an AMRAP of that, as many reps as you can. And sometimes I'll throw a velocity-based trainer on them. So now we're measuring their speed. And it's like, hey, if you end up falling below this speed threshold, you're done, right? Because you're close to max anyways, and you're close to that 1 rep max. We got what we needed here. And they're able to keep, even under fatigue, the same speed.
Whoa.
Because it is insane. And it gets to the point where they're operating at like 90% of their 1 rep max, and they're like on the 12th rep. 13th rep, and they're just like looking at me because they're so tired, and the speed's like, if I look away for a moment, they just keep going, right? And then they call me over, and I'm just like, what rep are you on? They're like, I'm on 13, I'm so tired. And their speed doesn't go down, and I'm like, no, like I wanted you to do like 3 reps if anything. Like the fact that you got to 13 is insane. So with them, it's like concentric deceleration really doesn't apply well, because like they're able to produce, like repeat the power production over and over and over again. And it is the craziest thing. I know when I was preparing for one of the girls for her, because she went to the 2024 Olympics. Was that the one in Tokyo?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Paris, Tokyo, one of those.
One of the two. I think, was it Paris?
And I think it was Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most recent one. And so she was going there, and so we were doing like her tapering stuff, and she was like a few weeks out, and I had her doing like velocity-based training stuff that has worked with any other person I worked with. And then with her, she was not able to, like, the barbell didn't slow down on her trap bar deadlifts. Like, she was able to explode over and over and over again, to the point where I was just like, you know what? We're just like not going to use this velocity-based trainer. I'm just going to have you do 3 reps at this weight, be explosive on each one. Because if I don't get, just call it, because if not, she's going to do 15 to 20 and really fuck herself up.
That's crazy, dude.
It's like, it does not apply to them. It's insane. I'm sure it's probably similar to like sprinters as well.
Yeah.
I don't work with like the track team, so I don't know, but I assume like they're just able to repeat that over and over again.
But yeah,
super impressive.
You have grinders like you. I've watched you hit like 3 reps, like some of these videos of your bench press, where like the first rep is, whatever, 0.27, and then the next one is like 1.4, and then the next one is like I wouldn't hit the second one if my shit drops like that, I'm out. It's not coming back up. And you'll go for a third, and it's like 6.7 seconds.
Yeah.
And you just get it. So you have some people like you where it's like, you can just keep grinding them out. You may not have the explosivity, but you're like, well, I can just keep doing this. My muscles will never fail. It'll take 10 minutes for me to get this out.
Dude, my bench reps, like towards the end of my sets, are extremely slow. Like they're all slow motion. Same thing with my overhead press. I do think part of it has to do with like I'm confident in those movements. Like I know how to push myself upper body. Lower body's a different story though.
Yeah, I know.
Trap bar deadlift is fine, but like a squat, like I can't grind out a squat like that. And part of it's like mental. I'm like, once it gets hard, I'm like, this is it. This is my max. I can't do more than that.
Yeah.
And then like, if I do attempt, it's like I get to that sticking point and like my mind is just like done, and then I fail the rep.
I'm out.
Where like with a bench and an overhead press, like my body's like, no, you can finish it out. Literally just lock out your elbows and you're there. Yeah.
Just extend your elbows. It'll be fine.
Like it's not that hard.
Just do it.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, so we both agree that heavy is a slowing down of the barbell on a concentric movement. And for anyone listening who doesn't know, real quick, a concentric movement is anytime you are shortening the muscle. So like or lengthening the muscle. Yeah. So shortening the muscle. Sorry, shortening the muscle. So like when you stand up from a squat, your quads and hips are extending. Okay. So you're standing up out of it. So on the way down, everything's stretching. You're much stronger there. It's supposed to be a little bit more controlled. And on the way up, you just, jam it the fuck out and see what you got. So if you're ever wondering, just record yourself. Like that's how, when I don't have a coach with me or someone there with me, I don't have a good gauge in my head on how fast most reps are moving. I don't know why. It's just I've been under squats. Like when I showed you that Hatfield squat, I swear
Mm-hmm.
to God that felt like it took 4 seconds to get up, and it did not at all. It looked normal.
Yeah.
But inside my brain, it felt like it took forever. So put a camera on yourself and just record the sets you're doing. And if they move really quickly, it's not that you can just go up a bunch. If you're just starting, mm, but try like 10%, I think
Mm-hmm.
10 to 15% for lower body movements and 5 to 10% for upper body movements, and just try it for the next one and see how it goes. Make sure you have a spotter and you're being safe and all that fun stuff. But if the bar never slows down, I just don't think we're getting the right meaningful weight stimulus that we're looking for to make the nervous system adapt to being stronger or the muscle tissue adapt to being bigger. And I think that's what heavy does. Heavy at 20 reps causes, so the literature says, so the nerds in the white lab coat say, heavy at 20 reps, like near failure at 20 reps and near failure at 6 reps is virtually identical in terms of how much the muscle grows. So
Mm-hmm.
it's gotta be really fucking hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we in
I
agreement?
agree with that. Yeah. We are in agreement on that
Okay.
one. The literature.
The literature. I normally, if I say stuff like that, people kind of tune me out. So normally now I say the nerds in lab coats and glasses,
Yeah.
and they're like, right, and I'm like, yeah, those fucking
Oh, you
weirdos.
know who
Like
you're talking
Day,
about.
Day.
I don't wear lab coats and I sometimes wear
Oh,
glasses.
you literally
So,
have glasses on your head right now.
but yeah, but these are sunglasses. These are like
Dude,
cool people
no,
glasses.
those are lab
Look at those.
glasses, dude.
Those aren't not.
You should wear those in
Ain't
the lab.
no.
How sick would that be?
Yeah, like when I'm. Hell yeah.
Pipetting blood just with
Yeah.
with those on. Okay, so we've decided that heavy is when the bar moves slowly.
Uh-huh.
And that differs from athlete to athlete and person to person. It's not necessarily about what the maximal weight on the bar is, more
Mm-hmm.
so how your body can move the load. And I think it kind of does come down to time, right? Like the velocity based training is helpful for most people because it shows you when your body is now pushing against something that is more difficult and causing more strain, and you can kind of normalize those numbers. Most people don't have velocity based training, but if you just, or tools like the OBR,
Mm-hmm.
but if you record yourself, you can see it. So like record your first set, if you wanted to, you could record all sets, but I think first set and last set and just kind of see where you're at. If your first set looks like your last set, we're fucking up, people.
Yeah.
Not supposed to be like
Yeah.
that. Okay. So the next thing we're talking about is why is it important? What does it do?
Why is lifting heavy important?
Yeah. hmm
Wow.
In your opinion, Day. And by that I mean
In
the
my
real opinion that rules the universe.
Yeah. I think if we're lifting heavy and we're managing volume appropriately, there's not going to be too much interference with performance. That's usually when volume kicks in. So when you're doing high volume of heavy lifting, that's where you see a lot of that interference, right? So if everything's managed appropriately, you're going at the correct intensities with the volume that is appropriate with the overall load of the person, whether it's a person who is middle-aged, 9 to 5, has a lot of stressors, or an athlete, a young athlete. If everything's managed appropriately and you're still pushing yourself at a high intensity, you're going to see the result of I'll keep like everything pretty plain terms, but a stronger body that's able to be more durable and withstand more demands, right? So let's say if we're talking about in the sense of a general gym goer and someone who has a family and all that stuff and just wants to live a more capable, I've used that word a lot in this episode, but a more they're able to do more in life, right?
Do
Like,
more shit.
they're able, yeah, and they like their quality of life is improved. It's like a lot of times that's through strength training because you're not going to have as much injuries and you're able to produce force, so that allows you to do more things in life, right? Like just
Uh-huh.
basic things in life, like carrying your kids, carrying your grandkids, pushing a stroller, carrying your groceries, yard work, all these things. So I think a lot of times, like, it doesn't have to be too complicated. You lift heavy, you get those rewards. And then in terms of like performance side of things, like you lift heavy, there's like the very common thing for like endurance athletes, what they look at is bone density. Like your bone density gets better. Like your bones are no longer this like super weak, fragile, brittle thing that just breaks once it's been exposed to a lot of like stressors like running where you're pounding on your legs all the time. If they're dense, they're able to withstand more and you're not going to get cracks in your bones. Awesome. Another thing too, you're able to produce more force. So you have this higher force capability of, again, that word, capability, capacity, whatever. So your cup of force production is higher, right? So you're able to, let's say you're running a race and you have a sprint finish. Who's going to be able to sprint to the finish line faster? The person who is stronger and able to produce a lot of force quickly, so they have higher power outputs under fatigue, right? That happens with the person who is overall stronger, who probably has been lifting heavy because of, you get into all the fiber types. Endurance athletes mostly have that type 1 fiber type that really is more about producing force over longer period of time, so it's not high force production. But if you start lifting heavy, then you start getting some conversion of the type 1 to the type 2, which is the power, faster force development. So you want a mixture of that, right? So there's the fiber type perspective of it, and then there's a side of like, increasing like stiffness in the body, joint stiffness. So now you have stronger joints, your tendons are stronger, so you're not going to get those aches and pains you normally would if you don't lift and then you're starting to do miles and miles of running. And it's kind of like, when was it, like 8 months ago, a year ago, when I was running like 50 miles a week. And I just kind of just like ramped up my volume pretty quickly. And I was doing weeks, like back to back weeks. I didn't really like deload. I just kept adding mileage every week. So now there's this accumulated amount of mileage that I've had, and I didn't take any breaks in between. And I feel like I was able to do that without getting any major injuries because I just like have been strength training so long. It's not like I was running fast. I'm not saying I was running fast and I was performing well, but I was able to handle so much of that volume. And I like, essentially what I wanted to prove is that like I have a durable body that's able to do this if I wanted to. Okay, now I'll kick it to you.
No, that's great. I love that. I mean, we don't make for good TV because we don't disagree with each other on many things.
I know.
Dude, you're a fucking idiot. I hated that take. You're so stupid, dude. Pilates bodies only. Shout out, dude. Shout out Pilates. No, I mean, I think, yeah. Yeah, it's the point I really like to make, especially working with like, amateur runners. People come to the gym and they're running as their hobby, and they're like, I'm kind of, everyone tells me I should strength train now, but isn't going to make me slower? Isn't it going to make me, blah, 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 blah. I think the thing I normally say is the same as you, like the bone density, the tissue health, the strength, like, and then the example I always bring up is, if you had two runners who were equal in skill and capability in terms of running and their form, like everything's perfect, and one of them is, much stronger than the other one, who do you think's going to win this? The stronger athlete or the weaker athlete? If technique's the same, I think the stronger athlete's probably going to come out on top, and that's, I think, the same with most sports. It's like, and obviously not all, and there's a point at which strength no longer is like that deciding factor, and I do think that's like, a technique thing, and we're also talking about like the very high levels, like professional athletes, but for most people, I think being strong enough, which is something I think it's in one of these we'll kind of get after, is like, when is it not helpful anymore? Which is a totally valid question, and there's like an interference to that. But I think for most people, like, one, doing like traditional strength training in terms of like strength is not going to put a whole bunch of muscle on you unless you're someone who puts muscle on really easily. Most runners and cyclists and people in general going to the gym are probably not eating enough of the right stuff to put on a shit ton of muscle. And I do think actually most people would perform better with more muscle. I think their bodies would be more capable, more capable of withstanding some of the impact and some of the stress on the joints and the soft tissue, and the hamstring and glute is a big one where I see runners get injured, and I think just on vibes and some personal experience, if you could RDL and leg curl a lot of weight frequently, I think your chances of having a hamstring pull are much lower, you know?
Yeah.
Just gonna throw that out there. I've been running for a year now, obviously not a lot, but I've done sprinting stuff, and the amount of runners I work with who are in and out of like, oh, my hamstring is, my hamstring hurts, my hamstring hurts, my hamstring hurts. I can feel my hamstrings working when I'm running. I just don't, and this is a vibe, and it could be wrong, but I think being able to deadlift over 400 pounds, I'm not really concerned about what running is doing to my hamstrings. It's just not a problem. And I'm not saying runners have to, like, my focus is in strength. I just think that if you have really robust glutes and hamstrings and adductors, the chance of you going into backside mechanics and pulling something just reduce because the tissue is much more ready for those behaviors. Heavy lunges, heavy RDLs, heavy curls, I think just, make you have a solid backside, which you need for running, apparently. Who
Yeah.
knew?
I think
Who
that's a good
knew?
point too. And like people being exposed to the different, right? A lot of it's like demands of whatever you're doing. So if let's say it's a sport, demands of your sport, well, you have to be exposed to like the hamstring's a good one where it's like you should be exposing the hamstring to maybe like fast movements that are lower weight. So that's where
Mm-hmm.
heavy's not as important, but you should, and that's where plyometrics comes in,
Sure.
right? So it's
Yeah.
again a complementary if we're looking at the force velocity curve, like I've mentioned this like several times where you're trying to surf the curve,
Mm-hmm.
where you're trying to do things. And that's a really common term in like the S&C world that people use all the time. Surf the curve, to surf the curve. But you want to do things that are light and fast, like
Mm-hmm.
especially for the hamstrings, right? Because they have that demand of having to contract and a lengthen very quickly. So you have to be able to do that. But you also want to make them super durable. So you do want to also load them up pretty heavy. And that's where you do things with the RDLs and maybe some really heavy hamstring curls so that you're getting both knee flexion, like hamstring work through knee flexion as well as hamstring work through the hip.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's like, you just got to look at like what you're trying to do and the demands of it and like trying to build it up as much as you can. And there's like, it's just like, there's no, I still don't understand why people try to argue it so much unless it's like based on anecdotal evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if someone's like, hey,
My
I've
brother, sister's
lifted,
cousin.
yeah, or like I've lifted heavy and it made me super tight and slow. And it's
Yeah.
like, when I hear that, it's like, okay, you probably did have that experience, but you probably did not approach it correctly. And so again, like I'm not trying,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to have you do a 1 rep max back
Mm-hmm.
squat at, 3 times your body weight. Like that is not my intent.
I
My
am.
intent
I'm
is to
doing
make,
that.
yeah, hell yeah. We're trying to break records here. But like, if we can be able to do things to make like expose you to different stimuli that you're not being exposed to through your training or through life, that is just going to make you better and more like capable. Again, that word capacity and capability today is like the
The word of the
keywords, but
day.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So when people tell me that, it's like I don't think their stories are wrong. I do think their exposure was inappropriate
Mm-hmm.
and we need to address that and like, because there's way too much evidence to not agree with it. Like there's multiple studies that show running economy improves when people are exposed to appropriate strength training. And
Uh-huh.
that includes like maximal effort lifts as well as plyometric training. So like a
Yeah.
mixture of both, right? But a key component of that is the heavy lifting. So there's just too much evidence to like not support it. Like,
You
yeah,
know, you say that, but people believe we didn't land on the moon. So
that is true. And did we?
now we're
Crazy.
asking like real questions here.
Yeah. Yeah. I
No,
want everyone to sit on that.
all right, that's our podcast, folks. Day doesn't believe we landed on the moon. She also thinks the Earth is flat. So I'll talk to you guys
Yeah.
later. No, I think that what you said about like your story, like what you experienced is, I'm not saying what you didn't make you slower. I just think maybe what you did was incorrect for what you wanted it to be doing.
Yeah.
Like my anecdote for this is I had a potential client come in who was very skeptical about strength training, and that was their exact story was, I got slower when I did this last time. And I was like, I get it. Can you tell me what program were you doing? Like, what was the workout like? Oh, well, I got a bodybuilding program. And
Here we
right
go.
there, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. And it was like, 4x12 leg extensions, 4x12 hamstring
Yeah.
curls with hack squats. And like, I was like, oh, yeah, you were doing a bodybuilding. You were being a hybrid athlete
Yeah.
on accident. You were accidentally being a hybrid athlete, and that made you
But
a little
without like
slower.
the load management, just slapping two programs on
Correct.
top of each other
Yeah.
is
And
wild.
it was a great conversation because I
Yeah.
explained to them and was like, hey, this is our philosophy. This is how I handle the program. This is what I would have you do. Like, it's, I'm not trying to put slabs of muscle on, which just so you know, the program you were doing, its intended function was exactly what you got out of it. Because they were like, God, my
Mm-hmm.
shoulders looked great, my arms looked great, my ass looked great, but I just ran worse. And I was like, I honestly
Yeah.
checks out.
Yeah.
You got the intended outcome for the plan that you got. You just didn't
Yeah.
know that was the intended outcome.
Right.
So that was an interesting conversation where it's the same thing, where it's like, yeah, your experience is true. However, your
Right.
understanding of why that experience happened is misguided, or just you have no idea why because you're not a fitness professional, which is fine. Like, that's not
Mm-hmm.
you just found a plan online and we're like, this looks great. It was
Yeah.
funny though because they were
Right.
like, I want my abs to look good. And I was like, you got it. You just couldn't run as fast. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oops. Sorry. Whoopsies. That's what you mean. You got what you wanted. It just didn't.
Accidentally got a nice ass.
God, it must be so hard.
Yeah.
Whatever,
But that
dude.
is I think that is a super common mistake, right? Like amongst everyone. I don't want to say it's just like, oh, people who don't understand
Mm-hmm.
the principles of, performance, whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
think like most people do that where they just slap two programs together. And I see it all the time. Like there are some coaches that do that. I think like,
I've done it so many times.
yeah,
Just
I've done that
trying
on
to get it to
myself
work.
multiple
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just because and then also like, especially if you're, let's say, coaching yourself, like
Mm-hmm.
in your head, you think you could do everything. It's like, oh, I can make this work. Like, why would I
Yeah.
take sets out?
I'm
But
cocky and
like,
stupid, dude.
yeah. And I think working with like the triathlon team initially, like I was doing more volume with them. And part of it was because a lot of them were coming in with no like strength
Yeah.
training background. So I was like, I kind of need to like build as much as I can. So I will take a volume approach. Would
Mm-hmm.
I do it again if I get athletes who have no experience in the strength training world? I probably wouldn't do it again. I think it was a little bit too much volume.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, you just like you
Learn.
learn and you find
Mm-hmm.
things out and you take feedback from them too. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be
I
I'd be lying if I said I did everything perfectly. So
well, you're perfect. So
yeah.
you just say thank you. You just take a compliment. You say thank you, Day. God damn it. You're great. Accept it.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I fucking don't remember. Something about, I thought it was so interesting you said earlier about when you write plans for a lot of people, you're kind of basing it off what you can do. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so fun. Like, sometimes with certain people, I have to like completely put that out of mind. Like, I work with a lot, I know you know, but for anyone listening that doesn't know, I work with a lot of people who are like 60 years old and have literally never been
Mm-hmm.
in a gym in their entire life. So I cannot frame that around what I can do. I can't even be in the
Mm-hmm.
conversation. So you kind of have, I have to build out this like character in my head that I base it off of like, where are they at? What have I seen? Like, I have
Mm-hmm.
avatars for like these women and men that are this, thing, but I
Mm-hmm.
can't be involved in that. But that took me a while to learn, You're like, well, I could probably do like this, and then, this person is like 65 and never worked out, so they could probably do, a little less, and maybe it works, but the scale is so far on the other end that you're kind of just like in unknown territory. But
Yeah.
it is interesting sometimes I wonder if you have felt the same way. Sometimes when I'm watching someone do something and they grab something too heavy, and by too heavy, I mean, I can't do that. There's no fucking way you're doing this.
Yeah.
And you have to be like, oh, hey, you know how I'm always telling you to
Hey,
grab heavier shit? Mm-mm.
this
Put that
ain't it.
back.
This ain't
Put that back.
yeah.
And when I do that, it's so funny to see their response because they're like, you normally told me to grab heavier stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is the wrong exercise. This is not it. Please don't do that.
That's so funny. That would happen all the time with the swim team
Mm-hmm.
because I worked with them for 2 years. I love that they got out, and this is the guys swimmers. The lady
Mm-hmm.
swimmers were pretty good with like managing load stuff, but the male swimmers wanted to max out every day.
Hell yeah.
Like they would be the type of guys that'd be like, I've never squatted 405 before. And we have 3 sets of 8 today, so I'm going to do 405. Like that was the mentality.
I'm right there. I know how they even got to that number.
Dude, it's just so funny because like it's that management of like I love the intensity. I love the like drive you guys have and how much you want to like
let's tone it
push
back
through. But yeah, you're gonna break your back because then like a lot of them would be like, my back hurts, and they have to go to the athletic trainer, and the athletic trainer is like, hey, I got a lot of reports of bad backs today, and I'm like, damn it.
Like, yeah, these
We're not
fucking
maxing
assholes are maxing out for no reason.
But
I
yeah,
turn around,
I mean,
it goes
I'm
from
also
1 plate to 4 plates.
Yeah, I'm also of the mindset, and I shouldn't be, but sometimes I'm like, you know what? Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
And then
Once or twice.
you can't do that. You know, I kind of have to tone that mindset down during in season because I don't want them to like do that right before race. But sometimes fuck around and find out is needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you need to fuck around and find out sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
If you are confident and have spotters or aren't scared, you know, or do it safely. Do it safely. Do it safely. We recommend doing it safely.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on heavy, what is heavy, and kind of what it should feel like? And
Yeah, I mean, right. You hear it all the time. Lift heavy. It's lift heavy with the asterisks, and then there's all these little footnotes where it's like know your relative relative max. Go until like you'll know what heavy is once you see the movement velocity of the movement slow down. Manage the load appropriately. Just because you're going heavy does not mean doing a million sets, right? Triathlon girls, they're doing 2 sets heavy for their main movements. That's it. They don't need more than that. So it's just knowing like when to add, when to take away. But like intensity is the last thing you should strip back when you're trying to, let's say you're tired. And like the first thing is I always say reduce volume. If that's not working, then you reduce intensity.
yeah.
But like intensity is the thing that is getting your brain to fire, that is making those like changes with that, like, you know, when we're talking about being able to perform. So yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree. I fully disagree. Let's fight about it. No, I think that's a good ending piece is like I think the biggest thing I want to touch on secondary to what you just said in addition or backup or whatever I'm trying to say is don't just, if you're going to increase intensity, turn that knob. Don't increase intensity and then increase volume at the same time. It's a recipe for disaster. You know, increase your intensity, see how it feels, and then next week, then start to adjust the volume knob. And volume just meaning how much you're doing. So if you're gonna like, hey, I'm gonna push this a little bit today, push it for the final set. And, you know, and over time you'll get a feel of it. Like if Day and I worked out right now, and she's like, hey, we're maxing on whatever. I think we're both experienced enough that it's like, all right, fucking let's send it. Let's do it. But once you're getting into it, you know, turn one of the knobs at a time. Last set, make it really intense, see how it feels. And that for anything that's not direct strength work, which to me is like between 1 and 5 reps. If you're like 6 and above, I would give like a plus or minus 2 rule. So if you're doing like, you know, 3x10 of dumbbell bench press and you can do more than 2 over 10 reps, more than 2 over your prescribed reps, you're probably missing the mark a little bit. And if you push the weight and you can't get within 2 of the prescribed weight or reps, I'd say kind of back it off a little bit. That would be, it's like I think a quick guide for some people on, you know, plus or minus 2. If you're supposed to do 10 and you can only do like 5 or 6, probably a little too heavy for 10 reps. If you're supposed to do 10, you could probably do like 13, 14, 15. It's probably a little bit too light. So make the adjustment.
Yeah.
That's it.
See?
That's what I got.
Cool.
Whoa, my camera changed. Now my camera looks all weird. I'm an alien. You can't see me.